Hello and welcome back to Homeschooling Through High School. My name is CJ, and in today's video we will discuss how to start homeschooling. All of those common questions I will answer for you today, as well as any hesitations that you may have. I'm going to address those as well. I am a mom to a 9th grader, a 7th grader, and a 6th grader. I have been homeschooling since the very beginning, and I'm not an expert, but I have a lot of information. I have my notes here, and I'd like to share that with you because I know now is the time where many people are considering homeschooling and they just want to know how to do it. So let's get started. I want to mention this video is full of information. So what I've done is I have timestamped every section for you below so that you can go through the video, and then when you need to come back to it for reference, you can jump around wherever you need to. So go ahead and like and subscribe so that you can have this as a reference. You know, if at any point you feel a little overwhelmed, you know, there's a lot of information here. If you feel overwhelmed, I want you to pause, breathe, and even come back to it at another time. Grab some coffee, some tea, some water, turn on some essential oils if you must. Let's relax, grab a pen and pencil, and let's jump right in. As I begin, I want you to consider your why. Why are you even thinking about homeschooling? And I want you to jot that down. I want you to think about a plan of how you want your homeschool season to end when your kids are graduated. Think about if your kids will even go back to a traditional school at some point. Maybe you're considering homeschooling for a certain amount of time. Grasp onto your why. Why are you considering this? Jot it down. Keep it close to you and don't let anybody deter you from why you are choosing to homeschool. Okay, so the most common question I get is, what about socialization? And maybe it's because when I was in school, I was always told you couldn't talk. And maybe it's also because I actually did teach 6th grade some years ago, and I was told as the teacher, you can't have your students talk in class. And so I never really worried about it. I know that from they were young, I taught them to socialize with those in the house, so their siblings and mom and dad. You wake up, you say good morning, that sort of thing. And I just took them everywhere with me, to the bank, to Target, to the grocery store, to the choir rehearsal, and then they eventually got involved in sports for gymnastics and jiu-jitsu, and anything can be a form of socialization when there's other people involved. So if you're part of the 4-H club or the chess club, or you are going to join a co-op, there are people there for them to socialize with. That is the least of your worries. Let's put it like that. If you're really worried about socialization, I would strongly consider joining a homeschool group, a homeschool co-op. You can find many of these on Facebook. I will share some of that right here, and I will also speak on it a little bit later, but I wouldn't worry about socialization. I am pretty sure that if you're even thinking about it, you're going to be intentional about doing it. However, like I said, I'm going to list some sources because you want to be able to connect with like-minded people. So if you have a homeschool neighbor down the street, or if you join a homeschool group, those are excellent ways to make sure that socialization continues, but I feel that socialization happens and starts in your household, and so I think you're going to be just fine there. All right, so where do we start? First of all, it's legal in all 50 states. Let's take a look at this website to find out what your homeschooling law is. Take a look as I scroll through. It is hslda.org. You're going to click on your state, so Alabama, Arizona, Alaska, Florida, Kansas, whatever it is, and you're going to find your laws. There should even be information there if you're withdrawing mid-year. You'll have to do something like inform the school. You'll have some sort of paperwork to withdraw. There might be a letter of intent. Some states have an affidavit that needs to be signed. You might need to present a birth certificate. You may even need to get your paperwork notarized. One thing that you want to consider is that the paperwork might need to be updated every year, so take special note of that. As you're scrolling through, make sure to notice what the state's requirements are on record keeping and attendance, etc. But each state is different, so make sure to take a look here. All right. What do I teach? Well, on this same page, you should be able to find out the different subjects that are required of you. For the most part, language arts, history, math, and science are a definite. But pay attention in case there are some additional subjects that are required of you to teach as a homeschooler. So what about curriculum? That is the next burning question after socialization. Let me say this, do not overthink curriculum and don't overbuy it. That's the first thing. You can just get caught on a rabbit trail of, oh, I need this and oh, I need that. There's a few things to consider before that. So let's jump into that. First of all, you may want to consider what your child was learning and where are they. So you may even want the school records for that to kind of see where your child was at. If, and I strongly suggest this anyhow, if you want to see where they are at right now for homeschooling terms, for your terms, because we have to remember that at the school you have a bigger class size and they may not be getting all of the educational nutrients that they need. So why not give them a placement test? And I'm going to link some of that below in the comments. Where do you go to find a placement test and have your child take it? So that's one step before we even think about curriculum. Then we need to learn what their learning style is, because once again, they're in a classroom of 30 kids perhaps or more, and the teacher is teaching one style to all of the kids, and your child may be an auditory learner, a kinesthetic learner, or a visual learner. And the style that they were teaching in the classroom did not suit them. So there's two tests here, the placement test and then also a test for their learning style. You will be setting up the tone for your homeschool with these tests once you know where your child is at, as well as what is their learning style. You may need to do a soft opening where you just do one subject a week. You may need to deschool, and I actually strongly suggest that. So deschooling is just taking a break, taking a few weeks or even up to a month and just not doing anything. Just letting your school mentality kind of just be drained out of your system and out of your kids' system, and then starting afresh. So I have a little bit more information about that right here. So when it comes to curriculum, I just wanted to share that I've used everything from Christian to secular as well, depending on the subject. And I've listed a few in the description box for you. I'm not sponsored by any of these websites that I'm mentioning here today, just some tools to help you. But I want to share this with you. You may need to go to Barnes & Noble's or Costco or Walmart and get one of those big books and just have your kid kind of go through that for the next few weeks. You may need to just go to the library and do read-alouds for a while. You may need to revisit even what they were learning at school. Hey, if it's too stressful to think about this placement test and think about their learning style and all that right now, you may need to do one of these things just to get you through. Or like I said, you may need to deschool and just not do anything for a little while until you figured some of it out. You can set up an educational plan of everything that they've learned from when they were in school and what you want it to look like. I hear you, CJ, but I'm still stumped about curriculum. You didn't even answer that question for me yet. Okay, fair enough. Think about this. Do you want your curriculum to be faith-based or secular? Do you want to teach family style or individually? Do you want a gentle approach to your curriculum, or do you want a more rigorous approach to the curriculum for your students? This leads me to the homeschooling styles that I mentioned briefly before. There are so many homeschooling styles. Take a look at this list. Now, for more information on what all this means, when you are done with this video, I want you to check out the Eclectic Homeschoolers YouTube channel for this video. She breaks it down so clearly. I wouldn't get stumped on the style right now. You don't have to decide that, how you want your homeschool style to be. Think of it this way, it's going to be similar to your home style, you know, the decor you have, and maybe how you dress and that sort of thing. It could be modern, it could be eclectic, it could be traditional. When you look around your house, it could be a traditional, classical look. Well, the homeschool style goes alongside with choosing curriculum, and there's so many out there. So if all you do is figure out the placement of your child and their learning style, you are on the right track. The learning style, the homeschool style could come a little bit later. Check out the video so that you can figure out some of the different curriculum to choose and use. I am also going to put this website here that once you found a curriculum brand, so for example, Sunlight, Abeka, The Good and the Beautiful, AOPS, and the list goes on and on and on and on, you can go to this website and you can read Kathy Duff's reviews, and you can see what she says about them and how she ranks them. After that, I strongly suggest searching Facebook homeschooling groups, and if you know anybody that's a homeschooler, going there and asking questions and doing some research. That's what I do. That's another way to feel connected as well. So I have multi-grades. I don't know how to teach multi-grades, so let me give you two pieces of advice here. Let's start with your youngest. I would suggest spending at least 15 plus minutes with the youngest child, playing, reading a book. So you're doing this first thing in the morning and making sure that they get that attention that they need right away, right off the bat. Then after that, have some sort of toy basket, sensory basket, anything that you believe will keep them occupied for another 15 minutes to half an hour, coloring books, crayons, anything of those sorts. Have that once you start your homeschool day. You can even, you know your child, you can even bring that toddler along to sit with you if you know that they will do so, and they can start hearing what's going on as well. So that's the first piece of advice. Spend at least 15 plus minutes with the youngest child or children and give them your undivided attention, and then start your homeschool day. Another suggestion is, hey, turn on some music or an educational program and let that toddler or young child begin to watch something while you start to teach the other kids. And teaching multiple grade levels, I would say that you try your best to combine whatever subjects you can. The easiest ones to combine, especially in middle school and under, I feel, is history and science. Those seem to be very easy to have multiple grade levels. I'm going to suggest some curriculum that caters to that, and that will be in the description box as well. So last year I combined history and science with my 5th grader, 6th grader, and 8th grader. And this year I am only combining history and life skills and Bible and that sort of thing. But anyway, this year it's only history because I have a 6th grader, 7th grader, and then my son is in high school, so his science is more rigorous. And so I'm only combining history this year for them. I'm combining world geography. I think I got that right. The curriculum these days, it's open and go. I do create my own lesson plan when I am creating a unit study of sorts, if I have some special interest that I'm putting together. But other than that, the lesson plans are usually there ready for you to rock and roll. Okay, so you mentioned a co-op and homeschooling groups and enrichment program. Yes. So a co-op is where you have core classes such as math and science and extra miscellaneous classes such as life skills and pottery and cybersecurity and even PE. They have park days, they have special activities like proms, sometimes graduations, and that is a way to get connected. All right, and I strongly suggest that. Then there's also enrichment programs, and enrichment programs usually only have subjects like IEW writing or physical science, like my son is taking a 9th grade physical science class with an enrichment program. They usually have seasoned former teachers that were in the school system, whether it was Christian or public, and they usually just teach those classes and then they're done. There's no extra, I guess, the fluff or the fun activities like park days and lunch and also like, you know, having graduations and stuff like that. And so that's another way to get connected. There are also charter schools, and there are many opinions about being in a charter school and calling yourself homeschooling. I think I mentioned something about this in a prior video. I'll try to link that. You know, I think my take on this is do not be judgmental. If this is what you need to do, if you need to join a charter school under the umbrella of calling it a homeschool to get you through this, then that's what you need to do. You have to do what you feel is best for you and your family. And so a charter school is usually a school that is operated like a public school, and they provide certain materials, and they also provide funding, and you can be a person that, I guess, schools at home and receive those funds. And so that is an option for you as well if it is in your state. So staying connected, I do want to encourage you to go to your favorite social media platform. It seems to me that most homeschooling groups are on Facebook. So what you would do there is you would go to Facebook and you would do a search for your state. So I will use Florida as an example because I used to live there. And so I would type in Fort Lauderdale homeschooling groups, you know, and some would pop up. Or I would type in, if you want something more specific, you can type in Florida homeschooling groups, or you can type in Christian homeschooling groups in Miami and see what pops up. And then from there, you can join those communities and you can see what people are posting about curriculum and local classes and laws and charter schools and does anybody have any books they want to sell and all of those type of things. I strongly encourage you to be a part of some sort of homeschooling group in your area. I do recognize that there may be some in very, very small communities that may not have this luxury to be able to physically, you know, meet with a group and that sort of thing. I would still encourage you to be actively searching for other homeschoolers in your area so that you can feel connected. I'm not qualified to teach. I hear you. I hear you on that. And I know some of the states have some laws on what you need to homeschool. Some states say you don't need a high school diploma. Some states say you need a high school diploma. Some states say you need a college degree. Check out your state's laws. What I would like to add and highlight to this is you are their mom first and their teacher second. They're going to need you as their mom, especially if you are you haven't homeschooled from the beginning. There's going to be a detox period there. That's why I mentioned deschooling before. And I want to encourage you that you can do it. You can do it. Everybody has a first day where they don't know what they're doing. Think about your first day of your first job that you had at Subway or a grocery store or wherever it might be, and you had to start from somewhere. My first day of teaching 6th grade at a school, they gave me all sorts of tools. I went through all sorts of teacher training, and they had lesson plans for me. And I still walked into that classroom and I didn't know what I was doing. I mean, I was prepared, but I was still nervous, and I'm sure I stumbled upon words and different things like that. Everybody has a first day. Everybody does. And I want you to go in confidence because God has chosen you to be their mom. And God has chosen you to think about this homeschooling journey. And I want you to know that you can do it. Please, in the description box below, let me know if you have any questions that I can help you with. More than happy to answer them for you. As a side note, there are websites for professional development and teaching. I'm going to list that below as well. I don't have a lot of space to homeschool. Where am I supposed to do that in my home? Listen, I hear you. When I started out, I had the cutest little space with all sorts of stuff on the wall and, a little bookshelf, and everything was just so cute and so, it looked like a kindergarten classroom for sure. And then I remember having that schoolroom for a few years, and then it was now like, second grade, first grade, kindergarten, and so forth. And it was just all cute and everything. The majority of the years, we've been homeschooling at the dining room table or on the couch. And so I let the homeschool room go. Now, if you would like to set up a homeschool room, I am here for it. I'm going to link 3 or 4 homeschool spaces for you to look at. One of them is a minimalist approach. One of them is having a very, very small space, and how can you use that small space to the best that it could be. And then the other 2 are room tours for you to take a look around and get some insight. But don't get hung up on that. Go to the dining room table, call it a day. You must have a lot of patience. Well, guess what? I've been working on patience since I was a young child. I get this so much right alongside socialization. Let me say this. I feel that being patient is not the kids' issue. I think it's mine. I think it's the parents. I just simply ask God for the patience that I need all the time. And I trust Him to get me through it. And so, if you feel overwhelmed or if you feel impatient, you know what I do sometimes? I take a break. I take a time out. I sure do. I step outside, get some fresh air and vitamin D. I go to a little space in my room where I have a little prayer shelf and some beautiful things that just kind of uplift my spirits. I love sunflowers, so there's sunflowers there. Sometimes I just say, you know what, kids, we're just gonna take a break. That's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna take a break right now. And so we will regroup in 10 to 15 minutes. I even sometimes have to apologize for getting cranky. And so, do I have a lot of patience? Through Jesus, yes. But other than that, like I said, I think it's something that as a parent, we need to stop putting it on the kids. It's not that they make you impatient. It's that we need to work on ourselves and show them what patience looks like. I hope that makes sense. And I could be speaking just for me. This is how I view it. But having a lot of patience, only through Jesus helping me. What about all the cool stuff and all the resources that are offered at school? Well, let's start with special education first. I inquired with one of my good friends that has some familiarity in this field about special education programs at school. And for the most part, check out your state, okay? And you may even have to check more on a local level. So with your local superintendent, some of the special need resources are available to you as a homeschooler. So you're gonna have to do a little bit of research there to find out what may be accessible to you. Same thing with participating in sports and even some of the classes that are available at a high school level, okay? Those resources, playing sports at the local high school or even middle school, as well as some of the classes are available to you. You may have to search that on more of a local level to find out, or even ask the school that your child may have been in as well. Check out the state laws thoroughly because many of the states, especially nowadays, are allowing homeschooled kids to participate in local sports. Now, then there's field trips and pep rallies and proms and all of these things. Well, field trips are accessible to all, right? It's just a matter of going to the aquarium and enjoying yourself there. However, nowadays there's so many businesses and companies and aquariums and zoos and so forth that have homeschool discounts. And so once again, if you are part of a Facebook group, usually those things come up quite a bit, and you can do a search and find out, oh, is this aquarium, do I get a discount at this zoo or aquarium or this science center, etc., etc. Another idea for playing sports is to also consider the local Parks and Rec, the YMCA, and different sources like that. In the states that I have lived in, there was always a homeschool sports program, all right? And once again, I'm gonna refer you back to the social media page for that. That's where I find most of my resources for homeschooling. Can I afford homeschool? All right, let me list some of these websites here for you. Once you decide what curriculum or books you're going to use, you can search online Facebook groups to see if anybody's selling curriculum. You can go to eBay. You can go to big online stores, thrift shops, and obviously you can go straight to the direct vendor. There are so many free resources out there as of now. Curriculum for unit studies, curriculum for an entire year. There's even college classes that you can get for free. So, as you see here, these are for you to view and take a look around. I've used some of these resources, but not all. So take a look and see what fits for your family. Remember, this is just a short list, and this is after you've determined your child's learning style and where they are at. So what about high school? I'm in high school with my son right now. We're learning as we go. I don't have it figured out, but I know that there's two things that I have to make sure I need to do, and I'm gonna share that with you. You have got to know your state's high school requirements, because many times, if not most, the high school requirements are stricter than the younger years. So know your state's requirements. Go back to this website where you looked at the laws and check out what they have to do for high school. The next thing is to identify if your child is college bound, trade school bound, or I don't know right now bound, okay? That is going to kind of set you up as to what you need to do, because if they have something that they are passionate about, you may want to consider building their high school years around their passions. Now, you have to make sure that the high school requirements are obeyed for your state, okay? But you can still build a curriculum of their passion to create their resume, their high school resume, to make sure that they are studying the things that are going to build them up if they are college bound or trade school bound or whatever the case may be. And if they don't know right now and you don't know as the parent, then that's okay. All right. And so I'm going to show you a list of some of the common things that are required of high school students, and you can also refer back to this video where I am sharing with you what I chose for his 9th grade year and why. And I am basically choosing classes based off of his passion of computers and technology, and making sure that I'm also aligned with what the state requires of me. All right. Now, my thought is that all kids need at least a high school diploma or a GED. It just sets them up, from my experience, with less challenges along the way. Of course, there are so many people who have done exceptionally well without a high school diploma or GED. But I feel that it is just a tool that is necessary. And of course, you have to decide what is best for your child and for your family. So just to reiterate the high school portion of this, just to make sure that we're clear, find out your state's requirements for high school. Even go a step further and check out, if you'd like, what the local high schools around you are studying and doing. Then figure out if your child is college bound, trade school bound, technical school bound, etc., or I just don't know bound, and that's all right. And go from there and create a plan for them. In my case, for my current 9th grader, as of date, I am creating a technology plan for him, all of the classes that he is interested in that will boost him up for his future. I'm also in the works of looking at different college degrees and what their requirements are for a high schooler entering their college. And I'm looking at the courses and what their requirements are just to make sure that my husband and I are on the right track. So that's a step further that you can consider. Yes, now even in 9th grade. If your child is in the 10th grade or 11th grade, it's not too late. You can homeschool them. You've taken them out mid-year, you can homeschool them in 10th or 11th grade or even their last year. I know of people who've done that as well. You just gotta make sure that you're obeying the state laws for high school. And I would strongly suggest creating a resume of sorts of their classes that they're just passionate about so it can set them up for the future. Lastly, I want to just share with you some do's and some don'ts. And I want to touch briefly on scheduling. I want to show you this schedule here and also show you a place where you can get lots of templates for scheduling suggestions. You know, the schedule is something that I feel is personal because you may have 3 toddlers and a 5th grader. Or, you know, everybody's situation is different. You may work part-time, you may work full-time and homeschool. You may be a single parent. So as far as scheduling is concerned, it's something that you're going to have to figure out what's going to just work best overall for all of you. You may be a morning person. Your children may not be, so you may be schooling in the afternoon. Everybody is different, but I'm going to show you these samples so that it can give you an idea. A couple of do's. Make sure you have your why and your homeschool plan and stick to it. Don't let anybody deter you from it. Do make sure that you have your homeschool plan and nobody deters you from it. Have fun. Have fun. Is it a lot to get to this place and have everything all lined up? Yes, but I can tell you, I've been doing this for years and I don't have it all together. I don't. And so, in the process, I find the joy. And there's some challenges when I can't find that perfect curriculum, or I have had to stop using certain books because it just wasn't working out 2 months in. I just try to find the joy in just knowing I have my kids with me and we can have so many life lessons along the way with them with me. And I get lots of hugs here and there and some fun laughter, and we could also travel when we want and, you know, go get a bite of ice cream when we feel to, and all those other fun things as well. Do pray and have fun and seek counsel. You're not in this alone, although there were many, many days that I felt that I was, and there were many days that I wanted to quit, and I called my husband and I was like, I'm done. I am done. But I'm so happy that I pursued and I just pushed forward. You have to homeschool year-round. You can make that choice later. Don't tie yourself up in thinking about stuff like that. Don't compare yourself with what other people are doing. Your family's gonna look different than mine. And the way I do things is gonna look different than how you're gonna wanna do things. You may get some suggestions along the way. There are many homeschooling channels like mine with different people that you can relate to, and you'll get a lot of tips. But don't hang yourself up on, oh my, look at that homeschooling room. When am I gonna get there? When am I gonna get to the point that my kids are reading like that person's homeschooling child is reading that I see on YouTube? Don't compare yourself. Do everything that you can possible not to do that. It will only bring you down. Don't get caught up in all the little extras. The themed days, Thursday tea time, morning baskets, Monday math challenge day and all of these other things. Don't get caught up in all the extras that you hear. Keep it simple, keep it to the basics. Right, J3?
Yes, I just wanted to say though, you did do Thursday tea time.
I did, and I'm telling them not to get caught up in that.
Yeah, so when I heard that, I just had to, come in.
Thanks, bud. That's my 9th grader, by the way. Keep it simple. Stick to the basics. You need to teach your children. You need to love on them. And yeah, that's it. Don't get caught up, like you heard my son say, in all of these little extras. If you want to add those on later, feel free. Don't feel like you have to join every single co-op and every single enrichment class and every single homeschooling group that's out there. They might not be the right fit for you anyway. So select carefully. I strongly suggest connecting and joining some sort of group, but don't feel like you have to join them all and do everything. And every time somebody says, oh, let's go on this field trip, that you have to do it. On those lines as well, don't feel that you have to join every single business that is out there nowadays that has some sort of homeschool class or homeschool co-op. All right, and with that, I close. If you have any questions at all, please put it in the description box below. Thank you for joining me. Thank you for spending your valuable time. Remember that everything is time-stamped for you so that you can jump around and you can take reference. There are lots of links in the description box below to help you. And I hope that this video has been helpful. I hope that you feel encouraged. I hope that you know you can do it and that you're not alone. And I look forward to hearing from you with your questions and your comments. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. So until next time, we'll see you later.